Hello, my friends. Dr. Robert here. It's always a blessing to sit down with you, especially with those of you in your 50s, 60s, even 70s who tune in week after week because you refuse to give up on feeling strong, youthful, and alive. And let me tell you something. After more than 35 years working with people in your age group, I've learned this. Aging is not the enemy. Neglect is. You know, I turned 60 not too long ago, and I still remember the day one of my closest friends looked at me and said, "Rob, how do you keep your skin looking so firm? How do you keep moving like someone 10 years younger?" I laughed at first, but that question followed me the whole drive home. Because the truth is, none of this happens by accident. None of us wakes up one morning suddenly feeling younger. It's the little choices, what we put into our bodies, how we care for ourselves when no one's watching. And today I want to talk to you about something that every single one of us depends on, whether we realize it or not. Collagen. The quiet architecture beneath our skin, the scaffolding that holds everything in place, the invisible friend we never think about until it starts slipping away. Let me ask you this, and be honest with yourself. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your reflection no longer matched how young you felt inside? Maybe the skin around your jawline softened. Maybe the lines around your mouth deepened. Or maybe your joints, those faithful companions that carried you through decades, started giving you little reminders that time is moving on. You know, I turned 60 not too long ago, and I still remember the day one of my closest friends looked at me and said, "Rob, how do you keep your skin looking so firm? How do you keep moving like someone 10 years younger?" I laughed at first, but that question followed me the whole drive home. Because the truth is, none of this happens by accident. None of us wakes up one morning suddenly feeling younger. It's the little choices, what we put into our bodies, how we care for ourselves when no one's watching. And today I want to talk to you about something that every single one of us depends on, whether we realize it or not. Collagen. The quiet architecture beneath our skin, the scaffolding that holds everything in place, the invisible friend we never think about until it starts slipping away. Let me ask you this, and be honest with yourself. Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like your reflection no longer matched how young you felt inside? Maybe the skin around your jawline softened. Maybe the lines around your mouth deepened. Or maybe your joints, those faithful companions that carried you through decades, started giving you little reminders that time is moving on. If that sounds familiar, trust me, you're not alone. A patient of mine, Linda, 67 years old, told me something that stayed with me for years. She said, "Rob, I don't mind getting older. I just don't want to disappear." And that hit me right in the chest. Because aging shouldn't feel like fading. It shouldn't feel like losing your strength, your glow, your sense of presence. What most people don't realize is that a huge part of this fading feeling comes from the slow decline of collagen. Somewhere around our mid-30s, our bodies simply stop making as much of it. And year after year, we lose more. Sometimes as much as 1% per year. That may not sound like a lot, but over a decade, over two, it changes everything. But here's the part almost no one tells you. You can rebuild collagen, and you can protect the collagen you still have. Not with expensive creams, not with complicated routines, but with food. Real, simple, everyday food. I know that might sound too easy, too ordinary to be powerful, but the older I get and the more science evolves, the more I'm convinced that nature has already given us the tools we need. Foods that repair us, foods that nourish us, foods that hold back time, little by little, day after day. And trust me, I've seen it with my own eyes. A gentleman I worked with, 72 years old, former firefighter, came to me complaining that his skin felt thin and his knees ached every morning. We didn't start with supplements. We didn't start with injections. We simply shifted what he ate. 3 months later, his wife showed me a photo from their trip to Arizona, and I almost didn't recognize him. His posture was straighter, his skin looked fuller, his smile had a spark again. That's what feeding your collagen can do. Before I take you into the specific foods, some you've heard of, some you probably haven't, I want you to imagine something. Imagine your skin like a sturdy woven fabric. When we're young, every thread is tight, strong, perfectly interlocked. But as we age, the threads loosen. Some break, some fray, and the fabric begins to sag. Now imagine each meal you eat as a chance to repair one of those threads, to tighten, to reinforce, to rebuild. That's what this video is about, giving your body the materials it needs to stay firm, vibrant, and resilient inside and out. This isn't vanity, this is vitality, because collagen doesn't just keep your skin smooth, it keeps your joints strong, your bones steady, your muscles supported, your heart protected, your entire body humming with strength. Too many people reach for lotions and serums trying to solve a problem that begins much deeper. And after years of working with older adults, I can tell you, nothing works better than nourishing yourself from within. So today, I want to share with you the foods I turn to every single day. The same foods I recommend to my patients. The same foods backed by science, by experience, and by thousands of stories from people just like you. Men and women who want to age with intention, not fear. If you've ever felt like your body is changing faster than your spirit can keep up, if you've ever wished your skin could match the youthfulness you still feel, if you've ever looked at your reflection and wondered where the time went, then stay with me, because you're about to discover 13 simple foods, ordinary, humble, often overlooked, that can rebuild your collagen, restore your glow, and help you feel like yourself again. Let's begin. You know, the more I work with older patients, the more I realize something quietly profound. Aging doesn't happen in the big dramatic moments. It happens in the small choices we make every day. Sometimes in something as simple as what we place on our plate. Collagen isn't magic, but it's a thread that gently stitches together the tiny cracks of time. And what amazes me most is that the foods that protect it are far simpler than most people imagine. I want to begin with a familiar image, a fillet of wild-caught salmon. I once had a patient, Douglas, 68, who said he felt aging most clearly when his skin became thin and easily irritated by the sun. When he started eating wild salmon 3 times a week, the first thing he noticed wasn't younger-looking skin, but the way the burning sensation under sunlight slowly faded. EPA and DHA work like silent guardians, shielding his collagen from UV damage. I still remember the surprised look on his face when he said, "I didn't know food could do that." And then there's garlic, a kitchen staple most people barely think about. But the sulfur in garlic helps lock in collagen fibers, almost like tying a knot in a rope so it doesn't unravel. I often ask patients, have you ever noticed how traditional dishes always include garlic? Maybe our grandparents knew something science is only now proving. Some about potatoes, any color really. White potatoes are packed with vitamin C, which your body absolutely needs to make collagen. Purple and red potatoes? Their rich colors come from anthocyanins, some of the most powerful antioxidants nature offers. I once asked a patient, when was the last time you allowed yourself the comfort of a warm, baked potato fresh from the oven? She laughed and said, "It's been ages." It's funny how we often forget the most nourishing foods are the simplest ones. And then there's daikon, that crisp white radish as gentle as winter air. It's full of vitamin C and water. It always reminds me of traditional Japanese meals, quiet, unpretentious, yet complete in all the ways the body needs to stay youthful. I often tell people, if your skin were a tree, collagen would be the trunk, and hydration would be what keeps that trunk from hollowing out. Pumpkin seeds, tiny as they are, hold a treasure of zinc, a mineral your body cannot produce collagen without. I like to say zinc is like the key that starts a car engine. You may have the perfect car and a full tank of gas, but without the key, nothing moves. Then we have ginger, the spice that makes any kitchen feel warm and alive. Gingerols in ginger protect the collagen framework by lowering inflammation and oxidative stress. I remember a woman once asked me, "Is that why drinking ginger tea at night helps me sleep better?" I nodded. When inflammation calms down, the whole body feels lighter. Beets are another miracle in disguise. Thanks to betalains and nitrates, beets help improve blood flow. I often say, if your bloodstream were a river, beets are the rain that keeps it full. When circulation improves, the skin looks brighter, rosier, as if time has quietly taken a step back. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with blueberries, but few people know that the anthocyanins in these little berries are so powerful they act like an invisible umbrella, protecting your collagen from UV-induced aging. One of my patients calls blueberries the dessert of youth, and honestly, that name fits perfectly. With leeks, we bring vitamin C and camphorol into the picture, two allies that help reduce cellular damage and stabilize collagen. Whenever I talk about leeks, I like to share the story of a patient's family in northern France whose meals always included leek soups and stews. Their skin was so radiant, I finally had to ask for their secret. The answer was simple: we eat with the seasons. Carrots carry beta-carotene, which your body turns into vitamin A, nature's version of retinol. I tell people, if you've ever bought a retinol cream, remember that nature already made its own version, and it comes in the shape of a carrot. Turnips, rich in vitamin C and anti-inflammatory compounds, not only protect collagen, but also support digestion, something many people don't connect with healthy skin. But I often remind my viewers, your skin is a mirror of your gut. A healthy gut always shows on the outside. Onions, with their quercetin and vitamin C, form one of the strongest natural combinations for collagen protection and repair. They may make us cry when we chop them, but they do wonders quietly inside the body. And finally, there are radishes. Crisp, hydrating, full of vitamin C. I often invite people to imagine this. Every time you bite into a slice of radish, it's like taking a sip of water, but for your skin. All of these foods, though different in color, flavor, and origin, share one beautiful truth. They help you protect the collagen that holds your skin firm, your face bright, and your body strong. And the most wonderful part? You don't need a complicated diet. You don't need expensive products. You just need simple, honest foods, the kind that reflect our own journeys through life. Modest, but more than enough. As we wrap up today's conversation, I want you to remember this. Caring for your skin, your collagen, and your overall vitality isn't about chasing youth. It's about honoring the body that has carried you through every chapter of your life. Every wrinkle tells a story. Every line on your face is a memory. What we're doing here isn't trying to erase time. We're simply choosing to walk through it with strength, clarity, and grace. And if any of the foods we talked about today sparked a thought, a memory, or even just a bit of curiosity, I'd love to hear about it. Have you tried any of them? Have you noticed changes in your skin or your energy when you eat differently? Share your experience. Your story might help someone else who's searching for answers. If you found value in this video, if it brought you a moment of insight or comfort, please don't forget to give it a like. It's a small gesture, but it supports the channel more than you know. And if there's someone in your life, a friend, a brother, a sister, a parent, who could use this information, feel free to share this video with them. Sometimes a simple share can open a door for someone you care about. I'd also love for you to leave a comment below. Tell me what part resonated with you. Tell me what you're struggling with, what you're curious about, or what you want me to cover next. I read every single one. And of course, if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. This is a community where we learn, grow, and age with intention, together. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take good care of your body, speak kindly to yourself, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.